All right, we are live. Welcome. I'm super excited. If you're receiving this video, it's because you have the interest of partnering up with Keylock Enterprises, myself, or anyone on the team, or you want the better understanding of what is an insurance broker, how does this necessarily work, and I'm going to explain that to you all. Again, my name is Keon Edwards, and I've been an entrepreneur since I was 17 years old. I'll be 22 soon, and it's been an incredible experience these past 4 to 5 years of learning how does this entrepreneurship journey go. And I started off just in sales. I went to Clark Atlanta University, and on campus, pretty much had this idea that I wanted to start my own business and I wanted to get into entrepreneurship. And I started in sales, and we were able to produce millions of dollars in business just by being able to sell different products that people necessarily wanted and needed to gain education in the financial world. And pretty much this is the same similar space, but I believe it's a lot more beneficial for people because I believe everyone needs it. Not just everyone that wants it, but everyone actually needs it, and they can pretty much utilize Keylock Enterprises and everything that it pretty much offers to its fullest ability. So I'm gonna go over these next couple of minutes how you guys can necessarily benefit by partnering with us and being able to literally grow your own business and be able to sell your own business. I'm going to go over that. Now, personally, myself, I am an insurance broker. I'm pretty much registered in most of the states in the United States, and I'm licensed specifically to the state of Georgia, but all across the United States. And one thing I can necessarily say is I partnered up with a company that necessarily allows me to do what I want to do, right? And when I say what I want to do, I necessarily mean that I have the freedom. So I'm not what you would necessarily call a captive agent. Okay, so captive agent means that you're stuck with the company. You can only sell for that company. And I'm going to explain it a little bit. Why was that so important to me to be able to make sure that I was not captive and that I was a free agent for a lot of people all across the states? Okay, so I partnered with the company. It's called Family First Life, right? And Family First Life is pretty much an amazing company. If you necessarily want to get into this insurance industry, I would start with Family First Life or any other space that you're necessarily around because of these very reasons. This guy, the CEO, he started back in 2013. His name is Sean Mike, right? He's the president, he's the CEO of this company, and he personally issued over $800,000 himself. Okay, without building a team, without doing any hard work, pretty much he did that himself. And then he didn't necessarily do hard work, but he leveraged his own ability to do that, right? And then he created the agency, correct? So he had about 42 agents issuing about $850,000 per month as a business, okay? So that means that necessarily everyone, all 42 agents collectively divided, they were making about $850,000 a month, right? And he said, I have a mission for the insurance industry. You guys have probably heard of various different insurance companies. And, these companies are really big and they're really exciting and they're really motivating. If you go research them and you go look them up. But when I looked them up, I understood that there was a difference between Family First Life, what I partnered with, and a whole bunch of other companies that I were looking at growing up in the sales industry. And I'm gonna start off just here, right? When I say families, to protect myself from any income claims or anything, when I say families, I want you guys to necessarily transition to understand, what I'm actually saying here. So this is Nina. She's from Arizona, 25 years old. She said in 2020, she started off as a personal trainer and she was able to protect over 400 families. It's got Jamie C. 27 years old. He started off in the multi-level marketing industry, in the digital marketing industry. And now he's helping over 30 families a month. This lady, she's from Virginia, 29 years old. She was a Division I basketball player. And she was going into the medical field. And she says that she has helped over 400 families, in just 1 year. And 62-year-old helped over 430 families in 2020. You can pretty much translate that to yourself. Now, I've seen this company and they had a goal, okay? They had a goal that they had, and everyone has a goal. And their goal was necessarily to be able to dominate in the insurance industry in a certain way, not necessarily to just make a whole bunch of money as a company, but how to help people earn and help a lot of families, right? Same as Netflix. They changed the game when it comes down to being able to watch movies. Airbnb, they changed the whole entire hospitality hotel game. Uber and Lyft, they changed the idea of you getting in a taxi. Amazon, they changed the idea of you going to a mall and having to pick up whatever you have. And I believe Family First Life is that same game changer, just due to the fact that, you know, pretty much the digital world is taking over, and you're going to need a lot of training, and a lot of jobs necessarily, they're not paying enough for people to necessarily be satisfied, okay? So I want you to think about that right now. When you are joining an industry, what industry is actually going to necessarily grow for you, okay? Now, when you're looking at joining a company, you want to look at these 7 things, okay? The first thing is the compensation. How are you getting paid? If that should be the first thing that you're looking at, right? Because that's the reason why you're doing this, is to make some money, right? Majority of the people in this industry, they're starting off paying people at 25 to 40% of whatever they're making, right? And they're maxing out at 110% after a couple of years of being a part of them. Starting off at Family First Life, we're talking about we got people starting off at 90%, right? If you're part of Keylock Enterprise, we're talking about you're going to start off at 100% of your entire commission. You're going to make 100%. Second is renewals, okay? If you have no idea what renewals is, this is where you have the opportunity to receive some type of residual income, meaning that as those people are paying those policies every year after that first year, you're going to be able to get a percentage of whatever they're paying, which is pretty cool. Most companies, they don't start you off to 5 to 10 years that you've been specifically with that company. That's when they start making sure that you get renewals. But in Family First Life, you're going to be able to get your renewals vested day one, meaning there is no control. With Family First Life, they're going to make sure that you're able to get your residual income in that manner. Now, third is the average income, right? You guys should do some research on what is actually happening. $43,000 is the norm when it comes down to most companies. We're talking about this company, the norm is about $174,000. No income claims. Number 4 is training, okay? What do you necessarily have to do to get the understanding of what to sell, what is insurance, what kind of insurance and stuff like that? This company pays for training. And I think that was pretty much, cool, because, in order for you to even get your license, you have to start off with paying for a course. And we've necessarily agreed to go ahead and pay for that course for you. So you don't necessarily have to worry about that. As long as you commit to making sure that you take the actual final exam, this company is going to walk you through on how to necessarily get that course and make sure that you're good on that. And you don't have to pay for any training. So your sales training, if you don't know how to talk to people, you don't know how to sell, you don't know where to start, you don't know how to get contracted with companies, you don't know how to do anything, there isn't a fee that you're going to have to pay for that. Number 5 is leads, right? Most companies, they either have no leads, or they have recycle leads, or the actual staff has to share leads. What's so important is how are you necessarily getting your customers? So you have the opportunity in Family First Life to utilize the people that you know. If you have a huge network, to utilize different partnerships, or you could utilize your leads. Okay, there are different ways that you can necessarily implement your leads. Number 6 is independent, right? Most companies, you have to sign a contract, right? Which I said is very, very important to me, that I made sure that I didn't sign any contract, that I wasn't married to any company, that I was my own independent self, that, everything that pretty much comes in, it has my name on it, right? There are no contracts with Family First Life. Number 7 is the initiation fee, right? Most companies, you necessarily got to pay to get in. This company said, listen, you don't have to pay to be a part of what we have going on. Now, if you could see right here, this is the growth of the company, starting off at $22 million of issued paid. Guys, that means that their agents collectively, that means they paid out about 22 million. Now, 2020, we're looking at about 325 million. You guys are looking at this video. In 2021, this company has paid out over $800 million. So you guys see exactly where the company is going. I truly believe that we're going to have one of the biggest impacts on what this insurance game is necessarily seeing when it comes down to producing young, wealthy, successful people all across the world, right? Now, real agents, right? I met a lot of these agents. I was a little skeptical at first, but I got over that hump by necessarily being introduced to a lot of people that were making a lot of money, and they were making a lot of impact, and they were working really hard. They were working hard, but they were getting paid for what they were working hard for, right? Now, as a brokerage, the difference between being a captive agent or pretty much being a broker is that you have the opportunity to necessarily be contracted with a whole bunch of different insurance companies, okay? So you have different, when you're dealing with these cases with these life insurance clients, you have different cases. Most people, they can't get approved with one company. So what do they necessarily have to do? They got to go to another company, then another company. But we're actually that company to where you can necessarily be able to get a one-stop shop, okay? So where you don't necessarily have to jump around. You can compare prices. You can be able to understand, okay, bet this is the best product for me. This is the product that I want. So you got different options. You don't just have one option to have final expense and that's pretty much it. Now, the four types of insurance that we pretty much make sure that people are able to receive. And the first one is final expense. So final expense meaning that that's their death insurance, whether it's term or whole life, meaning that's what they're getting paid out once they pass on. Mortgage protection. Every homeowner needs mortgage protection, especially if there are two people in the home, to make sure that their home doesn't get taken away after one individual passes on. So it's very, very important they protect their home. Advanced marketing sales. This is where you're dealing with annuities. This is where you're dealing with different variables and different investment funds. Okay, so as a life insurance agent, you're not just dealing with specific life insurance. You're actually some sort of financial advisor. You have a license in this space. You pretty much understand how the market is necessarily going to work with different investment funds. You're dealing with people that are going to be putting their money in a safe place for the next 20, 30, 40 years and be able to get paid out once they retire with the advanced marketing sales, which is pretty cool. And then we got the healthcare portion. Now, getting your health license is pretty amazing as well. You have the opportunity to protect people in their health, which is pretty cool, all right? Now, how do you necessarily deal with leads? Now, this company partners with various different companies. These aren't the only companies that you have to utilize, but they're pretty cool. Dealing with Facebook, right? Imagine you being on Facebook, you have the opportunity to necessarily say, you know what, I want to be able to look up insurance. I know I do it all the time. I type in Google, what's the best car insurance rate, or what's the best, insurance policy for this, or renters insurance. Well, Facebook is going to allow you to receive that. Your internet leads are going to allow you to receive that. The direct mail leads are going to allow you to receive that. Now, I don't want this to necessarily stir you away because you're like, oh, I have to pay for my leads, right? It's just like you're paying for your clients, right? These people necessarily filled out this information. It's going to provide their name. It's going to provide their home address, their phone number, their email, their, pretty much how to contact them and where they necessarily filled out the lead, to where you give them a call. You let them know, hey, listen, I just got this information that you just sent over, and I just want to go ahead and go forward with filling out this application for you. And you get the opportunity to have that client and be able to do that information. And they're going to be able to give you all the information because you are a licensed agent in whatever state that you're in. Now, the compensation is one of the most important, especially if you're choosing a company, right? Now, the compensation plan is pretty simple. Now, you got two parts on how you can necessarily grow in this business. You can build a team, or you can just go out here and write a whole bunch of policies to your clients where you can make a lot of money. Now, you need to start off on part-time, right? Part-time is where, average, you should be making about $6,000 per month, $74,000 a year, right? Nothing's guaranteed, but this is necessarily going to help you out here. Now, you're looking at least having about 10 appointments per week. These appointments, you're booking them, you're understanding, hey, listen, this is the time that we're going to meet, or this is the location that we're going to meet. I'm going to present to you your different options. Now, out of those 10 appointments, 5 of them pretty much, showed up and they gave their agreement to be there. Out of 10, 3 of those appointments you close. Okay. Now, in insurance, you get paid a little bit different. You get paid what we call in advance. Okay. So whatever they're necessarily paying that month, you're going to get paid in advance for it. Okay. So think of it exactly as whatever they're paying that month, you're going to get whatever that is times 12. Okay. So if you're paying a $60 a month, that's about $720 annually that person is paying. Okay. Now, if you're on a 90% contract, now you have the opportunity to receive 90% of whatever you're getting paid. Okay. Now, this is typically how you're going to get paid on. And you do that consistently for the next, 50 some weeks that you have throughout the year. Now you're on a consistent basis where you have a part-time income. Now, if you want to have a full-time income, we're talking about running at least 30 appointments a week. You sit down with 20 people, whether it's Zoom, whether it's in the home, whether it's people that you know, you at least close 10 of those appointments, $80 per appointment. Now you're making about that's $960 up front that you're going to make. Right now, we're talking about on average $10,000 per week. And that should be the goal that a lot of people get to, at least $20,000 a month or $10,000 a week, right? And I try not to do any income claims, but this is realistic here, right? If you do these numbers, this is exactly what is going to happen. It's going to put you at our Hall of Fame. We're talking about $400,000 annually a year. I understand that, yes, you do have to put some money back into leads. You're going to have to put some money back into investing in your business, but that's in any business. Right? But you're going to be able to receive that money back, which is so, so important, right? Now, you can also build an agency, which means that any person that you bring on, you can pretty much get an override on whatever they're making. So if you're at 100%, you bring somebody in, they've studied their test, they passed, they have their license, and they're writing business now. Everything they're going to receive, if you're at 100%, they start at 90%, you're going to see 10% override on that. Now, imagine you build a business of 10 people. And they're each doing that, or you got a business of 50 or a business of 100 or even 1,000 or multiple, right? We got people that literally have businesses that have multiple thousands of people in them. They're receiving overrides on that. And remember, we're talking about this caps out at 145%. You're going to receive that upfront annual, same week, same day type thing, which is really, really amazing, right? Whether they're a part-time agent, whether they're an agent necessarily doing this, whenever. We're talking about one part-time agent, they do at least 7 policies, right? We're talking about $750 a month. Or you got 10 part-time agents, $7,500 extra a month on top of what you're writing yourself. 100 part-time agents, on average, $75,000 per month. Now, this is the reason why you necessarily want to utilize this, especially just at 110% compensation level, right? Now, this is photo that I personally took, when I went out to Florida, about 14,000 people came out to the convention, and this is a free convention. Usually when I go to convention, we have to pay hundreds of dollars, we got to pay for hotels and a whole bunch of different stuff. It was free access. It's for 3 days. It's a Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And it's one of the most incredible experiences because there wasn't hype. They were literally people there of all ages. They were about their business, and they understood that America's #1 most paid industry is the financial services industry. And they understood that, hey, all I need to do is pretty much get the understanding of how to do this. And now I'm going to be able to provide for my family for the rest of my life. What was so cool about it is that you can actually build a company so big, whether it's 100, 200, 300 agents, to where you now have the opportunity to make sure that you could sell your business, which is so important, especially if you're trying to really build a business and really have financial freedom. See, the best part about this is that you also are going to be able to get some type of training for your agents. So they're not just feeling like they're just a part of something that's not moving. They're actually going to be a part of a team. They're going to be a part of some people to where they're going to be able to receive training every single day, all day. They're going to receive it in-home, online. They're going to be able to receive training all the time. They can call whoever they're working with to make sure they're receiving information. And then there's a Facebook group where they can connect. Whether you're in any state in the country, Family First Life is necessarily there. We're talking about on average about 20,000 active agents right now, and in 2022 are part of this company, and it's really, really amazing. Now, if you're all in, this is what I would do. I would get back to either myself or whoever sent you this video and let them know, hey, listen, I'm excited, I'm ready. Who do I need to talk to? I need to talk to the administration officer. I need to make sure that I go ahead and schedule my exam. You guys need to go ahead and help me so I can start with my courses, and I need to pass this test. Now, when you guys get, to starting on this test on the Excel, I want you to make sure that you lock in, you stay focused, and you do exactly what you got to do, right? If you're not just an automatic smart person, don't let that stop you, right? I was a C student, but I was still able to pass that exam and be able to write business still to this day. And it's really, really amazing for myself because I work for myself and I create financial freedom, and I utilize this money to trade in the markets, utilize this money to start other businesses. And I want you to be able to do the same for yourself and for your family and for your freedom. Guys, I'm telling you, what we're doing right now in Keylock Enterprises all across the country is necessarily going to change the game, because we are literally paying people what they deserve, right? So I want you guys to get back to the person that invited you to this call and let them know that you're ready to get started, that you're determined, that you're focused, and we're going to see you guys at the top, because the bottom is way too crowded. Thank you.